Charlie Kirk was born on October 14, 1993, in Arlington Heights, Illinois, and spent much of his childhood in the nearby suburb of Prospect Heights. He grew up in a middle-class Christian household, the youngest of his family. His father worked as an architect, a career that emphasized discipline, structure, and design, while his mother dedicated her time to raising the family and creating a nurturing environment at home. Their faith and values deeply shaped Charlie's worldview, instilling in him a strong sense of purpose, patriotism, and responsibility. From an early age, Charlie demonstrated a natural talent for public speaking and persuasion. He enjoyed discussions, debates, and questioning established ideas, often surprising teachers with his eagerness to argue positions with conviction. While his peers were focused on sports or entertainment, Charlie was drawn toward history, politics, and leadership. By the time he entered Wheeling High School, he was already writing essays on political issues, volunteering in local campaigns, and exploring ways to make a difference in public life. One of his earliest dreams was to attend the United States Military Academy at West Point. He viewed military service as a pathway to serve his country and embrace leadership on a national scale. However, when he was not accepted, Charlie faced a pivotal crossroads. What could have been a major setback instead became a turning point. Rather than dwelling on the rejection, he redirected his energy toward grassroots activism, convinced that his calling was to influence America through ideas, education, and organization. This decision would lay the foundation for his future. In 2012, at just 18 years old, Charlie Kirk co-founded Turning Point USA, TPUSA, with the ambitious mission of promoting free markets, limited government, and the principles of American exceptionalism. Starting with little funding but an enormous sense of drive, Kirk traveled across the country, recruiting students and building chapters at colleges and high schools. The organization's rise was meteoric. TPUSA became known for its bold, sometimes confrontational tactics, setting up campus tables with provocative signs like "Socialism sucks," and inviting students to challenge conservative viewpoints in open debates. These activities quickly drew attention. To many conservatives, Turning Point represented a new energy on campuses long dominated by liberal ideas. To critics, however, it was a divisive and polarizing group that relied on provocation and oversimplification. What began as a small student organization soon became a national movement. By the mid-2000s, TPUSA had expanded into hundreds of schools and colleges nationwide, employing staff, hosting conferences, and attracting support from influential donors. Charlie Kirk's gift for connecting with young conservatives propelled him into the national spotlight. By his early 20s, he was regularly featured on Fox News, conservative podcasts, and speaking tours. His sharp criticism of progressive ideology and his unapologetic defense of free markets resonated with a generation of conservative students who felt outnumbered on campus. The 2016 presidential election marked a major turning point. Kirk emerged as one of the most visible young supporters of Donald Trump. He defended Trump's immigration policies, his approach to trade, and his combative stance toward what both men described as the establishment. His close ties with the Trump administration elevated his status as not only an activist, but also a rising power broker in the Republican Party. Kirk's influence expanded beyond TPUSA. He launched The Charlie Kirk Show, a daily podcast and radio program that attracted millions of listeners, blending news commentary with conservative philosophy. He also authored books, including Campus Battlefield and the MAGA Doctrine, which outlined his belief that the populist movement led by Trump represented the future of American conservatism. By his late 20s, Charlie Kirk was no longer simply a campus activist. He was a movement leader, shaping the GOP's direction, mobilizing young voters, and establishing a permanent presence in America's political landscape. Kirk's views were firm and uncompromising. He championed free market capitalism, Second Amendment rights, and pro-life causes. He demanded stricter immigration enforcement and frequently criticized what he labeled woke culture and radical leftist ideology. For his followers, he was a voice of reason, courage, and conviction, a defender of American values in a changing world. But his prominence also drew scrutiny. Detractors accused Kirk and TPUSA of spreading misinformation, oversimplifying complex issues, and inflaming tensions on campuses. Some saw him as a provocateur who thrived on controversy rather than consensus. Supporters saw him differently, as a fearless speaker who dared to say what others were too afraid to voice. This contrast defined his career. To many, he was a hero of free speech. To others, a symbol of polarization. Regardless of viewpoint, few could deny his central role in shaping the cultural and political debates of his time. By 2025, Charlie Kirk had built significant financial success. His net worth was estimated between $2 million and $5 million, earned from book sales, media deals, speaking fees, and his leadership of TPUSA. Turning Point USA itself had become a political powerhouse, raising tens of millions of dollars annually from major donors and foundations. Its conferences attracted top Republican leaders, business figures, and commentators, cementing Kirk's role as a political kingmaker. He had created not only a youth movement, but also an enduring network of influence that extended deep into the heart of American conservatism. On September 10, 2025, tragedy struck. Charlie Kirk was speaking at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah, during a Prove Me Wrong event as part of TPUSA's American Comeback Tour. As he engaged with students in discussion, an assailant opened fire, striking him on stage. Kirk was rushed to Utah Valley Hospital, but despite medical efforts, he was pronounced dead. He was 31 years old. The news sent shockwaves across the nation. Leaders from both political parties condemned the assassination. Former President Donald Trump described him as a legendary patriot. Social media lit up with tributes, grief, and reflection. Even among critics, there was a recognition of the gravity of the loss and the chilling reminder of the dangers of political violence in America. Charlie Kirk's life was brief, but his impact was lasting. In just over a decade, he had transformed from a suburban teenager with a passion for politics into a national figure who redefined the landscape of conservative activism. He built Turning Point USA into one of the most powerful grassroots movements in the country, giving a new generation of young conservatives a platform to voice their ideas and challenge mainstream narratives. To his supporters, Kirk will be remembered as a patriot who stood boldly for faith, freedom, and the Constitution. To his critics, his legacy remains complicated, marked by controversy, divisive rhetoric, and the deepening of political polarization. Yet, regardless of perspective, it is undeniable that Charlie Kirk changed the conversation in America. His life and tragic death underscore the power of ideas, the dangers of division, and the fragility of life in a deeply divided nation.